got a few people listening in, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for organising the AMA call this morning. It's really nice to see you, and I think everyone in the Daxi community globally is enjoying your AusBiz interviews every 2 weeks. We look forward to it. It's in my schedule to make sure I get that video every 2 weeks. I'm enjoying your commentary on what's happening in the world of crypto and finance. But in light of that, and it's 9:15, so I might let you do your magic and go through some of the questions that have been answered in the chats.
Yeah, sure. So how do we do this? Does somebody sort of want to raise each question in turn, or am I going to do that?
I think you would do that. Have you got the questions there?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, happy to do it that way.
Yeah, like I think you've got questions there, so it's very quick just to run through them in order that you feel appropriate.
Okay. Well, look, there's a very long list, so what I'll do is I'll go through sort of some of the more obvious ones first, and if time permits, we can circle back on others. Does that sound right?
Perfect.
Okay. So look, one of the first questions that I've seen on the list that we do get a little bit is which countries do we plan to launch in the future? This particular question I think comes out of the UK. Which countries do we plan to launch in addition to the UK? So the way that we're thinking about this is that we obviously have licensing in position to operate in the EU. And we also have offices in the UK and Estonia. So Europe is definitely a priority region for us. Firstly, it's a very large market. And secondly, we're in position from a regulatory perspective to build the business in that market. So Europe is definitely a priority region for us. Equally, Asia is a high value opportunity market for us. I think somebody's got their microphone on. Just a bit of background noise.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Asia is also a region of priority and interest for us. So the regulatory frameworks that allow us to operate in the way that we would like are developing rapidly in certain markets across Asia. And so Asia is also a high priority region for us. So if you think about sort of the planet, Europe and Asia are both regions of interest where we're targeting growth. And beyond that, there's obviously Latin America, Africa, North America. And so they are markets of interest, but of lower priority right now versus Europe and Asia. So hopefully that answers that question. How does Daxi plan to launch exchanges in different countries once each region has a type of regulation or lack of? Well, the thing to remember, of course, and many of you will know this, is that the regulatory frameworks that are still in development actually don't exist in most markets. So we will go into markets that represent good growth opportunity and where we are in position already on a regulatory basis. But equally, whatever the regulations are in those markets, we will comply. Many exchanges don't. And you would have all read and heard in the past. But we are absolutely uncompromising on our determination to be fully compliant. In fact, more so than just being compliant, a lot of what we're doing in preparation or in support of the markets we're already in is to get ahead of where we think the regulatory framework will be in 6 to 12 months from now. So this is about not just complying with regulations in markets that we have interest in expanding into today, but future-proofing the business to the fullest extent possible by making sure that we've got ticks in all the right boxes from a regulatory perspective in advance, in some cases, in advance of those regulations actually being implemented in those markets. So being compliant from a regulatory perspective is and will continue to be really important. And we simply won't go into a market if we can't comply with those regulations. So if I keep moving through, what strategies does the team have in place to further promote the Daxicoin and the Daxi ecosystem? So I think I'm just going to sort of talk about this because this touches a whole host of questions that came through for this call. There are sort of two facets to the business, and they're separate to each other but very closely linked. One is the coin, and of course everybody on this call will be very interested in what's happening with the coin, what's going to happen with the price of the coin, how are we supporting the price of the coin, and that's understandable. The second related but separate area is actually building the underlying business. And so to some extent at least, the price of the coin is a function of the growth and the health of the underlying business. So in other words, what we can't allow ourselves to do is to focus solely on trying to manipulate and manage the price of the coin. That's not a business we're in. What we can absolutely do, have done, and will continue to do is invest in projects that will support the price of the coin, primarily through growing the number of listings and supporting liquidity, growing liquidity of those listings and the coin more generally. So as it relates to coin price, they are the fundamentals that we continue to be really focused on. But the coin will also, its value will also be a reflection of the growth and the success of the underlying business. So, we can't focus on one and not the other. We have to focus on both. But really, it's the underlying business that will drive the long-term value of the coin as we build communities of investors around the world. And as we service their appetite for investment opportunities with a growing catalog of asset classes, including, about a year or so from now, including being able to bring to them tokenized crowdfunding, which is a significant innovation globally. And there are all sorts of value propositions associated with being able to tokenize crowdfunding, which makes it a unique value proposition. So managing the price of the coin, everyone's always going to be interested in that. What you've got to remember is it's a slow burn. You can't manipulate the price of the coin quickly or easily, but you absolutely can support the price of the coin by building liquidity. That's about more exchange listings over time, tactical marketing around, things that drive activity, and people have sort of asked about some of that promotional activity. So we'll continue to do those types of things, but building the liquidity in the coin is a first principle strategy. And then secondly, and not second in terms of priority, but the other point is we absolutely must focus on building the underlying business, building the community of investors and expanding the catalog of investment opportunities that we can bring to those customers. And so that really speaks to the broader purpose of the business, which is to democratize the investment landscape for the average investor. That is the purpose of the business. And the coin is a mechanism which will help us do that. Many people, and perhaps quite rightly, see the coin as an end unto itself. It's a destination. It is both a destination and also a mechanism by which to deliver on the vision of the business to democratize the investment landscape for the average investor. So hopefully that gives a little bit of color on that, because there's a number of questions that relate to that. Daxi also looking at pension routes to market in other parts of the world, similar to what we have in the UK. Well, the pension landscape is quite different in different markets. And, in Australia, for example, the equivalent is, or the most obvious opportunity for us is what's called a self-managed super fund, which is essentially where individuals can manage their own money or their own superannuation funds. We are absolutely focused on that market. We see it as a very important opportunity. So the pension market exists in different flavors around the world, and where we can have access to that market, we will absolutely look to target that market. So for Australia, for example, you can expect to see a lot more from us very soon as it relates to, you know, aggressively going out to target those types of customers. All right, moving on. When is the ability to sell Daxi through the Daxi exchange going to be available? Well, the thing to remember is that we've committed to multiple listings on multiple exchanges. By the way, is this before, but it's worth restating. It's a very complicated and extremely expensive process, and so therefore it's not quick and simple. So there's a real commitment and a number of people in the organisation who work on this full time to make it happen. And we've seen good recent momentum with tier 2 exchange listings, which is a credit to that team. It's a complicated and expensive process. Now, our commitment to that is about building liquidity in the coin, and anyone that wants to sell the Daxicoin, anyone determined to sell the Daxicoin, can sell it on those exchanges. And so we've facilitated that through those listings. Making that same functionality available on our platform is a technically complicated process. It's something that we will get to, but in the meantime, anyone who's absolutely determined to sell their Daxicoin, they can through those exchange listings that we've committed to and delivered. I'll keep moving on to a couple of other questions. Eventually, company stocks and shares will be tokenized. Will Daxi be leading the way tokenizing the Daxi licensed worldwide platforms? So I'm not sure if I fully understand the question, but let me talk a little bit about the direction for the tokenization of crowdfunding. So as everyone understands, this is about offering the private enterprise asset class as an investment opportunity to a Daxi customer. Today, that's known as crowdfunding. The inherent limitation of crowdfunding today is it is by definition local. It's localized. So if you're sitting in a certain country, you have very little visibility and certainly no opportunity to actually invest in opportunities in other markets that you might understand given your personal experience or professional background. And so really what tokenization allows us to do is, for the first time, it allows us to create a global mechanism, which is the token itself, as a means by which to acquire, hold, or divest a level of equity in that private organization, in that enterprise. And so it's the global nature of this that is the big opportunity. And if you think about the implications of that, it also speaks to scale. And so if I have a highly specialized business of any kind, the sorts of people that will understand that business and therefore be interested to invest in that business is going to be a very, very small subset of the people that might be interested in investing in any type of opportunity in that given market. And so what we're saying is, if we can scale the business globally through crowdfunding, it gives us a much larger global community of people that feel qualified to understand that particular investment opportunity and therefore participate in it. So we think this is enormously important. Globalization is not just about saying, I've now got a token. That's a mechanism that allows me to invest across borders in a way that I never could before. The implications of that are a level of scale which we believe will translate to success for the investee company, the company raising the capital, translate to success for them through our platform in a way that is otherwise extremely challenging for them to achieve. I mean, a significant number of these crowdfunding opportunities are never fulfilled or never fully subscribed. So we think we can bring a really compelling proposition, not just to the investee company through globalization and scale, but obviously also the investor, because that globalization works both ways. As an investor, I can see a multitude of investment opportunities across the globe, and as an investee, I can have access to investors who might understand my business across the globe, not just locally. So it works in both directions. So that's a a really important and fundamental principle of that tokenized crowdfunding vision. So hopefully that answers some of those questions. Will Daxi at some point in the future be sending crypto ATM cards out to use? No, we won't. We're not a payments provider. I mean, that landscape is developing quite rapidly, as many of you will know, with PayPal and MasterCard and Visa and other entrants, other payments providers getting into that market. So we'll let them do what they do, and we'll just do what we do. Will there be another opportunity to vault Daxie coins? We have no plans to repeat that offer. So I think that answers that one. That's pretty simple. I think I've answered a selection of all the questions. What I might do is go back to the top and just work through some of the others. Unless, Squid, unless there are some questions in particular that you'd like me to focus on.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
I've just unmuted everyone
Felipe,
because yeah, we can hear you now. You can unmute yourself and ask a question if you wish.
Yeah, sorry. We had a little problem with our admin who was going to interview Ian, but he did pretty well on his own. But I believe that for the time set aside for this event, everything's okay. We know Ian is always on a busy schedule, so we'll give you the opportunity to ask one or two more questions. If anyone wants to take the opportunity, please feel free to.
I think one of the big pressing questions that most people are concerned with, well, just the transparency about the marketing into that trading world of the exchanges that Daxi is also has listed presently. I know there's other listings in the pipeline that we're not allowed to share the names of those companies, and at the moment with HIT BTC being such a big exchange, I think what is Daxi doing in regards to marketing our brand into the trading community of where we're listed?
Sure. So look, there's a bunch of tactical things that we've done in the past, and we plan to do a lot more in the future. You know, competitions is one example. There are others. You know, social channels are important, and we've really recently, for the first time, got a team of people in place to do just this, right? So in terms of investment into that area, we're now making that investment. We see it as important. So that should reflect, for everybody on the call, that should be seen as a reflection of our commitment to promoting the coin. So I think, and look, the other thing, just being, you know, honest with everybody, we're learning as we go here. So we will get better at this. I think we've already had some good success, but I think we can build on that, and we will. We've got the resourcing to do that. There are other things that we can do to lift the profile of the coin. I'll give you an example. If you go on to Coin Market Cap, for example, you can see the top coins that are listed, and you can sort those by value and a whole range of different things. But ultimately what they do is they prioritize the top 200 coins based on being a what they call a data partner. And a data partner just means that they're actually extracting liquidity and price information from another exchange. We are aware that once you have 3 data partners, you get grouped in this higher priority list that sits in the top 200 filter. So in other words, if you go beyond the top 200 filter, you can find coins that are a higher value, higher market cap value, but they're not in the top 200 because they haven't ticked the box on the 3 data partners. So this is a sort of, it's an example of where we can, you know, if we tick those 3 boxes, we can get a lot more profile around the coin and the story that will drive the awareness and the liquidity, which in turn drives price. So that's one of the projects that we're focused on. But we're also, investing in PR activity, influencer activity. You're going to see a lot more from us on this, and we've got the resources in place now dedicated to that part of the business. So there's quite a lot happening that you'll see unfold in the near future as it relates to supporting the price of the coin. And like I said before, I know that this is a big area of focus for everyone on this call. What's happening with the price? We want to see so remember, there's a number of facets to this. Liquidity is one of them. PR, influencers, social channels, that's another. Running trading competitions, that's another. But in the end, the thing that we can't compromise on is to build the liquidity of the coin through multiple listings, support that with all of these other activities I've talked about, and be aware of things like making sure that we've ticked 3 boxes on these data partners so that we can actually lift the profile of the coin more significantly. So we're targeting all those things.
Hugh's just asked a really good question, and I think a lot of people here would like to have the answer as well. Is Daxi intended to lead the way in tokenizing its shares rather than being listed on normal stock exchanges? So I think it's the Daxi shares themselves. Will they be available for Daxi UK, Daxi Australia, I imagine?
Well, right now the world considers tokenizing a security, which is a whole different host of regulatory implications. No, the answer is no. We're not. We have no plans to do that.
Oh, good. Now I do understand that Ed is on the call, and I'd hate to ask this. When are we going to get our app?
A mobile app?
Yes.
Look,
I'm going to ask that quite a lot.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to sit here and give you a date on that. There's a range of things we're looking at. We've got other higher priorities in the short term, to be frank. That doesn't mean we won't get to it, but we've got other higher priorities. So.
All right. If anyone else wants to type any questions in the chat, you're more than welcome to do that. I can look at that as well. But look, there is a lot of things happening with in Ian's world. Today we have Winston, who starts work full time for Daxi, which is fantastic. He's our marketing guy for Australia, and I'm sure there will be some vast experience from him being brought into the Daxi community, not only in Australia but globally as well. But if anyone else has got any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask them now. Otherwise, we'll might say goodbye to Ian and let him continue on his busy Daxi week ahead.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Ian.
Yep,
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Can I just ask, what sort of priority is actually being given to the Bittrex listing?
Yeah, so Bittrex have been a funny one. We've jumped all the hurdles. We've certainly funded the process, which wasn't cheap.
Mm-hmm.
We've found them actually a little bit complicated to deal with, and so you would have seen that. What we've done is we've focused on other tier 2 listings, so we're not sort of sitting still and waiting for things to happen. So exactly how that plays out, I couldn't say right now. But equally, I can tell you we're not dependent on it. The listing process that we're focused on will continue with or without them. So,
yeah, I mean, obviously you said we're not depending on it, but this is obviously one of the CMC partners, isn't it? That will be feeding into CMC to make us within the top. I mean, Ed is obviously talking about being the top 100 coin, and obviously, there's only about 15 exchanges. And obviously HitBTC is one of them, Bittrex is the other. I mean, the other 4 listings that are, in discussions with now, are they going to be sort of the CMC partners or what, please?
Well, first of all, they're one of 15 exchanges that can tick that box for us. So I guess the point we're making is, given these guys have been difficult to deal with, we're not going to stand still and wait for them. You know, we're just pursuing our agenda of multiple listings. I mean, as you know, we started with tier 3. We're ticking off multiple tier 2s, and that will put us in position to move towards a tier 1. And we're not going to allow, you know, the difficulty of that particular exchange, where they're very difficult to deal with. We don't really know why, but you know, essentially we're just going around them. So we can tick the box as it relates to having 3 of those data partners without relying on them, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ian.
Hey guys,
Yeah,
Philip
very welcome.
from Daxi here again. So we're running out of time. We've reserved 40 minutes for this event, so I hope you understand. So this is the first AMA we've conducted here on Telegram, so we're still learning how it works. And for everyone who submitted their questions, we'll raffle 5,000 Daxi coins tomorrow and announce the winner here on this group. And yeah, guess that's it. Good luck, everyone, and thank you for participating. And thank you, Ian, again for your time.
You're very welcome. Thanks to everyone for their interest.
So just to finish off the call, thank you very much, Ian. Really appreciate your time and expertise in leading Daxi to a whole new level of being the financial institution that we all know that it will be globally. The Aussie community chat, if you are on that, we'll be doing the 9 o'clock and 4 o'clock calls through Telegram from now on. And if you are involved with that leadership team and you would like to be part of that leadership team, we'll be doing the call tonight at 8 p.m. as well. So through Telegram, give that a try, see how it works. If we get more engagement, more people being able to join easier, we'll continue with the Telegrams. If it turns out to be something that is not going to be favorable for everyone, we'll flick back over to Zoom, which we've been using for the last few years. So thank you very much for your time, Ian, and the rest of the admin team. Look forward to catching up with you guys very soon again for another AMA. I put out the recording from the AMA last night, so I do hope that you make the effort of watching that recording. If you're in the AU chat, the link is there. But thanks for everyone joining today. I know you're busy, and have a wonderful start to the week. And it's been a really good start for me to be on this AMA this morning. Thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye.